Hey guys, it's Adam. I want to take a moment and personally thank you for listening to our shows, for downloading our shows, and for sharing them with your friends. With your guys' support, we just moved the Twisted 10 into the threshold of the top 100 comedy shows in iTunes. It made it to number 99, granted, just barely crept in there. However, that's still monumental for us. Out of the tens of thousands of podcasts that are out there, that's one of the most difficult categories to breach into. Thank you very, very much for helping us to get there. If you haven't already done so, please go give us a 5-star rating and give us a review, a short little 1-line, 2-line review, letting us know that you enjoy the show. iTunes reviews are like podcast currency. It legitifies the show, it allows us to get better guests, and it allows our sponsors to really see that we're reaching the listeners that are out there. If you haven't done so yet, please go do it. We would greatly appreciate it. We've got a ton on the horizon from Dichotomy Media, a lot more on our YouTube channel, more Get Out Penny cartoons, all sorts of stuff. So please help us by giving us that 5-star rating and a little review. Thank you very much and enjoy the show.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're listening to the Twisted 10, bringing you original and unique, host-created top 10 lists, recorded live in world-famous Cocoa Beach, Florida, with hosts Tach Van Sickle and Adam Poston.
And welcome to this edition, this Memorial Day edition of the Twisted 10.
You dick, you were right in my ear when you did that.
When I did what?
You have tinnitus now.
What did I do?
When you yelled into the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Is it too loud? Turn you down a little bit.
Oh, fuck, I just went in.
Jay's going,
Well, while Jay does that, welcome to the Twisted 10.
oh yeah.
My name is Tach, and I am not the host today.
Nice to have you back with us, Tach.
Well, I was here last week.
Well, I guess that's true.
Well, technically, if you're listening to Twisted 10, I was not on the last episode. None of us really were.
No, that was a special episode, with our boy Trey Easterling out of Georgia.
Andrea
I'm
was
not
here.
here tonight, though. Oops.
Andrea's got to go get the daughter from the Playhouse
It's okay,
here
you
shortly.
can be here.
I'm
Let's
Adam,
do
and Tach,
introduction.
I
Yeah.
am also not a host tonight.
Not a host tonight.
No, and we don't have the big screen up, so I don't know what's going on.
Andrea, are you here for a while? Yeah, you're here.
I'm not here.
You're here.
No.
We know that you have to leave. Andrea does have to leave in the middle of the episode, but she's here. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. And over there?
Mom.
What the fuck?
Do we need to turn it down, Jay?
I'm still trying to pop my ear back. What's up,
And that's
guys?
Jay Alvarez.
Yeah, it's Jay Alvarez, guys. What's up?
Oh yeah.
What?
And he also is not. We'll have to use sign language for Jay tonight.
What?
He's also not the host either tonight.
No, he's not.
Tonight we have another return guest. This is our
What?
second return guest.
We got another return guest?
What's the back
Right?
again song?
People are coming back?
yeah, right.
Welcome
man.
back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Who's this guest, Tach?
Oh, it's Mr. Carter. No. We have Jimmy Klein is here with us tonight. Yay.
Oh, shit. Well, this is the first time I've been in studio, though, with him, right?
With
I
Jimmy?
think so, yeah.
The first one predates
Yeah, because the last
me.
time I was here, he had been a guest, but he
Yeah,
wasn't a permanent
That's
part of the
right.
cast.
That was back at like episode 10 or 11 was your first Twisted 10 then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, that's old school. That's our old place too, wasn't it?
No, it was here.
Was it here?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're going back through a bunch of the old episodes on our other podcast for our LP, like, elite members on Patreon.
Yeah.
Gentlemen's
So,
Club.
Yeah. Well, we haven't officially named it
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
Yeah, it's not
Let's cut that
official.
out.
It's probably going to be Gentlemen's Club.
Oh, okay.
But
So, welcome back, Jimmy.
Why, thank you. It's good to be back.
And for those who this is your first episode listening to Twisted 10, what we do here is we have a host come on the show, or one of us will host, and we come up with an original top 10 list on anything you want. We do like to have guests come in or through Skype or whatever, and they bring their own top 10 original list. Oh, that sounds so much better. I don't know what you did,
just
but
turned you up a little bit.
okay. And what we do with that list, Adam, is we take it.
Oh, God. Here
we go.
We molest it.
We take it. We put a little diaper on it.
Okay, that's a good term.
And then we...
It's a little weird. What are you and
Okay.
Holly doing?
I'm not talking about molesting. That was you. That wasn't me. We pull a diaper on it. We wrap it up. What's that called, Jimmy? When you wrap a baby, swaddle it.
Swaddle, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
swaddle
going to
it?
say murder, but okay. Murder! When you wrap a baby.
Okay.
Called dispose of. That's
Yeah.
what that's called.
Okay, this took a weird turn.
Is that like the Bad Babies in 300?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Only
so we
without the
just
cliff.
we just take a list and we talk about it. This got really weird.
I think it got weird at the diapers.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't start with that. Can I start again?
You did do it over.
So what we do is we take the top 10 list and we take it and we put it in a sandwich. I always go with food. And then we put lettuce, cheese.
Wait, you always
The
go with food. You
diaper?
just said a diaper, yeah.
Usually,
Where were you going with? What was that, a shit sandwich?
let me try again.
You're full of
So-
shit.
I am number 2. So what we do is we take that list.
Eventually.
We buy it a ticket. We get it a boarding pass. We put it on board a plane, and it flies over, and then it goes on vacation to Vegas, and then it goes and sees like all the Girls Gone Wild shows because that's what it does.
Does it get named Mr. Papa Giorgio?
It was a
What-
Vegas
what-
vacation.
Very good. You like that?
Well done. Well done.
I'm
I put
impressed
$1
that came from Adam.
I
That's
put $1
impressive.
in, I won a car. I put $1 in, I won a car. I put $1 in, I won a car.
That is a movie no one should have watched, but I'm thankful you did.
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't too bad. There's not much that Chevy Chase does that I won't watch.
Right?
Even Tax Mom.
Even if he had a sex video?
yeah, oh yeah, I'd watch the hell out of
Okay.
it. Would you not take the opportunity and watch a sex video with Chevy Chase?
Probably out of curiosity.
I
Yeah.
feel like he'd
absolutely.
make it all about himself.
Well,
Yeah.
sure.
Kind of like he always does.
So anyway, we take a list, we break it down, we talk about it. So now we got through that.
Tack gave up.
That took way too long to get through.
Tack completely bailed on it there at the end.
So, Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
So Jimmy and I used to have Taint Funny. That was the podcast, which we are trying to
Yeah, we're
Not
still
give
talking
life
about-
to again.
Not
yeah.
to get confused with Funny with the Taint
Yeah.
That's a totally different kind of video.
and a different podcast. Got it.
That probably starring Chevy Chase.
Is that
Yeah,
that, Tech, is that video where you drew a happy face on your taint and was like, hello, everybody?
That wasn't me.
The failed Nickelodeon mascot.
I loved Taint Funny. You guys should reboot that. I'm
Well, we're
just saying.
trying
I've been
to. Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah. We originally took a break when I had a baby. After the baby was born, it was too much. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah, I
but
tried.
now that he's older,
I thought you murdered the baby. Okay. So now that we don't have that problem anymore.
now that he's older and he's easy to take care of, yeah, we're trying to reboot it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Even if you guys did it remotely, there's a couple of chat applications that are really cool. So you guys can just be from your own home. And then almost all of you guys have your own like recording equipment, right?
I know John does. I don't think Eric does,
Eric doesn't.
but he lives close enough to me where he come to my house.
Yeah, see, there you go. Get it rebooted. Damn it. I want some
Yeah.
more Taint Funny episodes. I'm
We're
just
trying.
saying.
That'd
Talk
be
to
great.
your hard-on buddy. Well, I don't know what to call him.
My heart on, buddy?
John, you have a hard-on for John.
It was nice. We went out. Coincidentally, we were doing our pictures for Twisted 10 the
or
Living
just early
Podcast.
tonight, we're running. Who we running to?
John was at the bar.
I was on the phone with Tack, and I get out of my car and I look, and John's getting out of his car at the same time, right behind where I was parked. Yeah.
Oh,
And he's
wait.
like, "What are you doing here?" And then Tack rolls up, and he's like, "What's going on?"
Oh shit! Wait, hold on. He wasn't there with us,
no.
dude. I left my beer there like it was his job to watch it since you came along. Like I feel like such a total dick now.
Well,
I
that's
just
good.
put it down. Like, hey, you're in charge of this now. I don't care if you're here on your own free
I
will.
asked him to watch, if he was going to sit there for a while with his wife, I asked him to watch our cell phone and tablet and stuff like
Okay.
that. So, no,
Yeah.
you're good. It's all right. John didn't mind.
Yeah, they were originally going to go to a different bar. I was like, "Come on, you come over to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
village, you know, the Village Idiot."
So if you'd mention the podcast, you get 10% off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We met some new people in there tonight. One guy, one New Yorker, I think, named Shy was his name.
Oh
He
yeah,
was
they're
there
from
with
New
his
York. They actually live in Palm Bay now. That's how we got to talking.
Yep, they're going to listen to the show as well. So shout out for the Village Idiot new friend we just made, Shy, and your
Boom.
girlfriend.
Yeah, I talked to a guy about the event we're having up on July 7th.
Nice. What day?
Well, this is the Twist 10, but they still come out.
Plug
July
the hell
7th at 7 p.m., 777 at the Village Idiot Pub.
You mean the Village Idiot Pub 77 at 7?
in historic
That's the
Coca
one.
Village. Yeah, that's the one.
Fantastic.
Who's going to be playing for us that night, Tech?
I want to say, is it Hot Pink?
Medium red have replaced Hot Pink.
Medium red. Okay.
Yeah, hot,
We're always in it for the hot
Fuchsia.
pink.
Fuchsia.
yes, Hot Pink from 8 to 11. The event starts at 7. We're giving, it's not free beer. It's a $10 mug purchase. Gets you unlimited beer until the 2 kegs, mark that 2 kegs, are gone. So basically, that's like 300 glasses of beer for free that we're giving away.
Nice.
So yeah, come
deal.
out and support. That's thank you to Bug Nutty Brewery for the donation of the 2 kegs.
Indeed. All right, Jimmy. So now that we got all that stuff out of the way, well, first of all, what's going on with you? So I know there's some talk about maybe you starting up some podcasts as well.
Yeah. I've been talking with both Eric and my wife about doing separate podcasts. Eric, if you listen to Taint Funny, Eric's really, really into horror movies. He's like a horror movie aficionado. So we were thinking about doing one where we just kind of weekly review a different horror movie every week. It's still in the planning stages, but that's what we're talking about doing.
Nice.
My wife is probably one of the biggest nerds I've ever met. She's the reason really that we went to MegaCon and stuff like that. And if you ever meet my wife, she's got nerdy tattoos at both arms and stuff like that. And,
What are nerdy tattoos?
well, like a quote from Hunger Games, her name and some kind of Star Wars language on her wrist.
I was
Stuff
picturing
like
the
that.
candy.
I'm sorry?
I was picturing the candy.
Oh, no.
Nerd candy.
Bunch of little dots, the pink dots on it.
I like that though. That's not bad.
She's always been partial to the purple hippo.
Yeah, she has.
So I guess I'm kind of into some stuff, like, Back to the Future and stuff, but she's more into Star Wars. And so we're into opposite things. And so we thought it'd be interesting to do a podcast talking about nerd culture kind of stuff, but people that are a family. And I'm saying how a whole family would be into it as opposed to an individual.
That's a good idea.
And I like your working title. What's your title for that one?
I can't even remember, to be honest with you.
Should we say it? So nobody.
Do you not want to say it? Is that the thing?
No, I honestly can't remember. My memory's horrible.
Oh, it's So I Married a Nerd.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
It's not bad. That's not bad. We should probably beep that out though.
Like, I mean, talking about nerdy,
Just
like my
people
son
grab those.
collects vacuum cleaners.
That's
Like, how weird and obscure is that, right? But
That's awesome.
he's really, he has like 43 of them
Is that Tach's phone ringing?
Where
again?
does he keep 43
Sorry, my
vacuum
son.
cleaners?
all over the house. Like, I mean, but he has like, I think 3 Kirby's. He's got a Dyson. I mean, he's got like
Does he
real
use them?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them he just kind of sets, in certain places in the house. But yeah, he uses all of them, yeah.
He can come over here and vacuum
Yeah.
anytime he wants.
Yeah, so we kind
I won't mind.
of tell our kids, if you're going to be a nerd, like, be proud. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Own that
otherwise you're
shit.
just weird. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. So what have you got for us tonight?
Well, I listen to a lot of podcasts because the job I have at work, it's probably similar to Adam's in the sense that I just kind of sit at a desk a lot and kind of type on a computer.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. So you find yourself listening to a lot of podcasts. And one that stuck out to me, like it did a lot of people, was the podcast Serial.
Yes.
I love
Nice.
cereal.
Well, I started thinking about it, and I thought it'd be interesting for my own benefit as well as everybody else's to do a top 10 list of podcasts that are kind of like Serial. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you like Serial, you'd probably like these other podcasts too.
Nice.
Some of them, over half of them, I haven't listened to myself, so I feel like I'm kind of a cheat doing that. But hopefully,
I love true crime podcasts.
you? Okay,
That's
yeah.
about what I listen to.
I was going to say
more than anything else.
for some of our listeners who may not know what Serial even is,
Yeah.
should you guys
Okay.
give a summary of what Serial is?
yeah, Serial is now this is taken from the Serial synopsis that they post online. It's Baltimore, 1999. This is for season 1 of Serial. Hyman Lee, which is a girl. Hyman, yeah.
God damn it, that is my name.
Exactly,
Hyman.
yeah. A popular high school senior disappears after school one day. 6 weeks later, detectives arrest her classmate and ex-boyfriend, Adnan Saeed, who, what was he, from Pakistan?
Are you talking about season 1 or 2?
This is only season 1.
I never listened to
you
season
haven't?
1.
Okay.
I listened to season 2 though.
He's arrested for her murder. He says he's innocent, though he can't exactly remember what he was doing on that January afternoon, so he has no alibi. But someone can. A classmate at Woodlawn High School says she knows where Adnan was. The trouble is, she's nowhere to be found.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so it talks. This he's in jail even today. He's in jail, and there's very little evidence saying he did it. The only real evidence they had was cell tower records, but this was going back to 1999 when cell phone technology wasn't the greatest.
Is he convicted right now? Is he in jail on the conviction?
Yeah, he's convicted, yeah. So they're trying to
shit.
get it retried. If you look on the news now, it's even in the news fairly currently. They're trying to get him retried based on lack of evidence. So
Really? That's
yeah.
interesting.
But
Yeah.
the way the girl does it, she's extremely thorough. Every piece of evidence they talk about in the podcast, in the case, she goes out of her way to interview everybody. She does it in season 2 as well. If you remember what I'm talking about. That.
There's like a whole team behind that.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
serial,
she doesn't leave any stone unturned, so to speak, and she does a really good job of covering all the angles, which is what makes the podcast even more interesting because she doesn't take any one side because she's I guess a true journalist. It's pretty interesting. It's really interesting.
That's cool. Yeah, Serial has Jesus. They set the standard for the best podcast with 1 million downloads per episode.
Exactly.
Their entire first season. Just ridiculous numbers.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the name of your? Are you still explaining? I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was the synopsis for season 1.
So what's the name of the list?
Podcast like cereal.
Oh. So it's the top 10.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I split it up. I split it up because there is 2 seasons to Serial, and although I'm not going to say similarities between the two, but I mean because there is the same person doing the podcast, but they're about 2 totally different subjects.
Yeah.
And so for that, I have a 5 for first season and a 5 for second season.
Nice.
So it's kind of split up like that.
Okay.
So the first one.
Well, wait. We have to hand over the metaphoric keys to you.
Oh, okay, cool.
So,
Okay, go ahead.
okay, so
Hand them over.
and there you go.
Okay, cool.
So now what we do is we hand over the hosting.
Oh my God.
So now we turn all the hosting gig over
Do you
to
have to
Jimmy.
give him the dirty diaper too?
Okay, no.
Is that a sex move? Sounds like it. You ever tried the dirty diaper?
We are actually developing the urban Kama Sutra. I think is what Dabs K and I are working
The
on.
Mexican
Oh my
diaper.
God, you guys should bring that to both shows.
The urban Kama Sutra.
Yes.
It's like Tach told you the story about the Santa Ana slapper, right? He didn't tell you that? Yeah, he told you that story.
We
right?
did an episode.
yeah,
where-
we talked about it.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it the last time you were here as well,
Yeah.
but we also did an episode where that specific thing was brought up because we were talking about who brought that. Adam Sakura did. I don't remember who brought it to us, but it was the top 10 like weirdest sex things you could possibly do.
Oh yeah, that was before me too.
Like my favorite's the Kenny Bung port surprise.
I want somebody to
far
try
fun to
this.
say.
You guys need to try the Santa Ana slapper.
You want to try it, Andrea?
Sure, yeah.
Because nobody's ever tried it that I know of.
I just really hope that there's a move
No.
called the Benedict Cumberbatch.
That'd be awesome.
But we're gonna do a role reversal on it.
You can't
you
slap me
can't.
in the face with something.
How do you know?
What could she replace my phallus with her tit? I mean, would that?
Sure.
They have strap-ons.
That's a Mexican Santa Ana slapper.
That is, yeah.
Why is Mexican
Or it could be Australian
racist?
because it's upside down. Never mind.
You
Anyways.
would throw the word Mexican in there. It sounds dirty. Anyway, all right. So now we turn the show over to you, Jimmy. You now have full control of the show. It's
Okay,
your
cool.
show.
All right.
And you remember the format and how it goes. We go 10 through 6, and then we take a break. And all right, you got this.
Okay. These are in no particular order as far as likeness to Serial. But the first one, it's to anybody that's listened to Serial, it might be fairly obvious that this is on the list. It's a podcast called Shit Town.
Yep.
Love it.
That's the same producers, right?
It is the same producer, but it's not the same person doing it.
Right.
Kevin Allison recommended it too when he was on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's a great podcast. I love
And it's
it.
one of those podcasts where you start listening to it and it goes in such odd directions that you're just like, wow, I totally didn't see that it was going to go there.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
But I do have the synopsis. Again, this is from the podcast itself. In 2012, John B. McLemore, who's the guy that's the primary guy that it's about, sent an email to the staff of the show This American Life, who is also the staff for Serial, asking them to investigate an alleged murder in his hometown, Woodstock, Alabama, which he dubs Shittown, hence the name of the podcast. After a year of exchanging emails and several months of conversation with McLemore, producer Brian Reed, who's the guy that does the podcast, traveled to the small town in Alabama to investigate. Reed investigates the crime and eventually finds that no such murder ever took place. However, he strikes up a friendship with the depressive but colorful character of McLemore, whatever, over the coming months, recording conversations with McLemore and the persons of Woodstock, of the town he lives in. It's such an interesting podcast, but at the same time, there's kind of a murder aspect to it. It's enough where if you're the type that listens to podcasts while you're doing something like work, it's going to keep you really, really entertained. You're going to want to watch the next or listen to the next episode.
Definitely.
So,
Nice.
I've binged through the entire season.
seriously,
in
yeah.
2
It's
days.
really addicting.
Damn, dude, that's a lot of hours to listen to in 2 days.
You got to remember, I would listen for probably 8, 9, 10 hours a night at work, because I used to work by myself, so I stick my ear in, I just hit play on podcasts, and that's it. So
Have you listened to it yet?
No, I haven't even heard of any of these. I'm not really into murder mystery ones.
Okay.
I love true crime stuff. I love it.
Season 1 of Serial will almost make you mad.
Yeah, I'd heard of Serial and
Yeah.
I started listening to it, but it's not my thing.
Yeah.
But I really want to give it a shot to this one.
Yeah. I mean, with Serial, like there's a few times where I've listened to season 1, I'm just like, But that's so fucked up. I mean, it kind of makes you mad. You're like, what the hell? Which this next one does that a lot. Have you listened to? No, you don't know what it is yet.
I don't know what it is.
The next one is called Murder on the Space.
Wait, number
I'm sorry, number 9. I'm sorry.
Nueve.
Number 9.
That's our little glimpse of light during your episode. That's all we get, man. Give
Oh,
it
I
to
get
us.
to do something.
Number 9
There we go.
is it's called Murder on the Space Coast.
Yes.
That's
I
Florida
listened to
Today's
it.
one, isn't it?
That's
It
season
is.
3 through 8 of Cops. I mean, that's pretty much it. Okay.
Yes, nice.
This touches on things that we're all from Brevard County.
This
So,
is
we all live in
fascinating
Brevard County.
show.
Yeah.
But it almost makes you embarrassed to be from Brevard County when you listen to this podcast.
No shit.
It is for real.
Because
Yeah.
if you're not already,
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this will give you more reasons.
We're
yeah.
the home of Carrot Top. I mean, let's be real.
As you said, it's put on by the Florida Today newspaper. The podcast, this is the synopsis for the podcast from them themselves. News columnist John A. Torres has spent the last year investigating a series of wrongful convictions that took place in Brevard County over a period of 3 years in the 1980s for this podcast, Murder on the Space Coast. The investigation looked into similarities between the prosecution of 4 men sent to prison for heinous crimes. 2 of the men were later exonerated. A third was found not guilty in a retrial. The 4th still sits in prison. What the cases share in common, the involvement of one particular prosecutor, testimony from a now discredited dog handler, and jailhouse snitches claiming they accused that the accused confessed to the crimes.
Really?
It's fucking crazy, dude. It's like there's conspiracy. I was like,
Oh God,
what?
yeah.
No
Like
shit.
this dog handler who's, oh my God. dude. And these jailhouse snitches, oh my
Well,
God.
from what I remember, it's primarily one snitch, right?
I think it's the same. I think
Yeah.
so. And the same dog handler too is like, he's like, this dog handler is like basically going around like, oh, we got to try to find the body or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's basically like kicking the dog, like, you need to go over there and act like you found something. You know, it's nuts.
I mean, in one case, the guy claimed that his dog tracked the murder suspect getting into a car 8 years after the murder happened. Yeah. At one time in Oklahoma, not to gesture to you because I know you're from Oklahoma. At one time in Oklahoma, he was having the dog sniff underneath trees. One of the people involved said, well, it's rained since then. This guy claimed, oh, yeah, that makes the smell fall from the trees and go back onto the ground again. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And this was the guy that was, he was the prime,
How dumb were these people?
pretty
Brevard,
dumb,
hey,
yeah.
Jay, Brevard County.
It is
Saying.
Brevard County.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
And the jailhouse snitch, I think he went from, he had 180 years in prison for killing the brother of a prosecutor. And after all this, jailhouse snitching went on, he whittled it down to 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So like what these
Yeah.
jailhouse snitches do is basically these correction officers or police or whatever will come in and go, who wants a deal?
Yep.
And then somebody will go, I want a deal. I was like, all right. And they'll basically, with somebody arrested for a crime that's they don't have enough evidence on, but they find something to arrest somebody on who may or may not be guilty of this murder at all. And they'll somehow put them together in a cell, and then they'll take them out, and then that snitch will claim that he told me everything about the murder that he did while we were locked up together that night. Like he told me everything. He said how he did it, where he did it, and it's bullshit, man. And they use the same snitch, I think, through like all 4 of these different cases. And it's bullshit. And I don't know how, like these jurors, like they believe these snitches
Oh, they totally
too.
do them, yeah.
Which you can't really fault them. They don't have any reason not to, because they don't know.
You can't hold the jury responsible. They just know what they're
But I mean,
presented.
but it's the like prosecuting attorneys too. It's, oh my God, you have to listen to the show, dude. It's fucking nuts.
I mean, these murders, what struck me is the locations of some of these murders, because they're places that us have probably passed a lot. One of them is if you know Palm Bay joins with US 1. At the intersection of Palm Bay and US 1, there used to be a trailer park. It's not there anymore. That's where one of the ladies was murdered, and she was stabbed, I think, 31 times with a steak knife, an ice pick, and a screwdriver.
Wow. They weren't
Yeah.
fucking around.
Yeah, there was
exactly.
actually where that trailer park used to be. Up until very recently, there was a tent town.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
What if there were 3 of them and each one of them had a different weapon and they're only supposed to stab her 10 times each? Bob, with the ice pick, you had to get 11, didn't you? What the fuck?
Well, what's
we
interesting?
did 10. We both fired up.
Yeah.
What's interesting is one of the other murders happened in Cocoa underneath the water tower by the Tire Kingdom. And that lady was stabbed, I think, 26 times. And so it's just it's what struck me was the similarity between those two, which I don't think they touch on in the podcast.
Yeah, somebody's getting off on doing that. That's a lot.
And then the other one was out beachside at the park at the end of O'Galley Boulevard. A guy took a big log and basically smashed in a guy's face. They found his body there. Yeah, he had been beaten to death.
Holy shit!
And you don't hear about any of this. Like, we hear that Ashley's is haunted, and that there used to be a girl buried on Indian River Boulevard in Rockledge and stuff. But you don't hear about these murders that happened in the 80s.
Yep.
So, So I highly suggest that podcast. Very good podcast. It'll piss you off.
I love
it. It really will piss you off when you listen to it.
Florida Today does an awards gala, kind of like Orlando has. Orlando Weekly has an awards for like best of for all the different categories. Podcasts are one of them. All the podcasts that I'd listen to in Central Florida are competing for that best of Orlando category. So I looked at Florida Today's website. I'm like, all right, maybe they've got a best of Brevard. Sure enough, they do. But there's nowhere to enter. There's nowhere to nominate. There's no nothing. So it's almost impossible to get in there. And if we're competing in podcasts against Florida Today's podcast on Florida Today's website, I kind of think they got the chips stacked in their favor.
They kind of mentioned that Orlando Sentinel has mentioned this podcast.
Really?
And Orlando Sentinel's kind of one of their rivals, but they had to give props to like, you know what, you guys are onto something.
This is a really well done podcast,
it's
guys.
Very well,
golf clap to you.
Yes.
And not to give away any spoilers or anything, but the snitch, they found out he was going to get out of jail because, he had whittled his thumb. But because of the podcast, because of John Torres and the podcast, they kind of, deal with that.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? And that's how involved he is with the cases, yeah.
No,
it's pretty impressive,
shit.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, and they also did, John Torres did a Q&A session at Open Mics. And that was like on one of the episodes.
Yeah.
Shut up, seriously?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Speaking of open mics, I was talking to the girl that you were...
Oh, yeah. What's her name?
She's going to kill me if she listens to this.
What's that girl's name that friended you? That was a friend of ours.
How long ago are we talking?
A couple weeks ago. She was a comedian.
Costa.
Costa.
Oh, yeah. The young girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one I know is Jamie Costa for the comic.
Yeah, not him.
Hang on, I'll look.
Oh, she's
Marilyn?
a kid, right? Marilyn.
Yeah,
Costa?
Marilyn.
Yeah, I've met her. A few times.
Yeah, because I had asked her if she had knew you, and she's, oh yeah, I've seen Jay before.
Yeah, she was. I actually the last time I emceed at open mics, I think she was on the lineup.
She was pretty funny. Like I've seen a couple of videos online. If you find her online, you can see them on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, we kind of give her a little bit of crap because she's literally a kid. She just finished.
Oh, she is. Yeah, she just graduated. Like when she did most of the ones that you're talking about, she was still in high school. Like I don't even think she was 18 yet.
Yeah, I remember her for. They came over after a Mel High Talent show.
Yeah,
her parents came and brought, and everybody came up and they were mad because we wouldn't put her on the lineup. We're like, it's a booked show.
Right.
We have a full lineup. You can't just show up. They're like, well, why is it called open mics? Well, ask the guy who owns it. His name is Mike.
His name's Mike.
It kind of makes sense at this point.
Yeah.
But no, she was very cool though, and she was very apologetic to her family, who was just there to support her. We get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's actually really, really funny.
I told her to go down to Old School Pizza.
Yeah,
because I told her, I said, because it seemed to me like it was probably easier, because the stuff you've said on Taint Funny back when you were on Taint Funny, stuff you've said in there, like it almost sounded like you do Old School Pizza and you almost graduate to open mics.
Yeah, that's basically how. Yeah, it's basically how it works.
Yeah. So I told her to go down to Old School Pizza.
Yeah, she just shows up, puts her name on a list for Old School.
That's cool, she sent you a friend request, right?
Yeah, I was trying to find her.
Yeah, she didn't send me a friend request.
No,
but she sent Adam. Because he's like, oh, there's some girl in Maryland. I was like, why does this sound familiar?
Well, I told her the name of the podcast, and I told her, I said, you really need to try to contact them, because they have a comedian on there already, and I think they'd appreciate what you do and stuff like that. So
cool.
Yeah, she rose in Mel. I don't know. Is she graduated now, or she
just graduated?
Yeah, she rode on their crew team. I lettered in crew all 3 years in high school.
That's cool.
Yeah. We got some similarities in common. Andrea's gone. We can talk about this.
See, white people.
She'll never listen to the show.
White people row a boat and they call it crew, and you get the medal in it. Hispanic people row a boat and they call it refugee status declined. Like,
I was gonna say immigrating, but yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I fucking hate this. Is white privilege. This is what it is, right? I'm seeing this right now. I bet what you got a boat too. I got friends that came in refrigerator boxes. I don't see a trophy on his desk.
Okay. Number 8. I had to think about it for a second.
Ocho.
This was one of the ones that I have not watched. Have not listened to. Wrongful Convictions with Jason Flom. That's the name of the podcast.
I haven't heard of this one.
this is again, all these will be the synopsis from the podcast themselves. I didn't want to try to put it in my own words.
Yeah, sure.
Wrongful Convictions is a podcast about tragedy, triumph, unequal justice, and actual innocence. Based on the files of the lawyers who freed them, Wrongfully Convicted features interviews with men and women who have spent decades in prison for crimes they did not commit. Some of them had even been sentenced to death. These are their stories.
Nice.
And so that's the way that's similar to Serial is one of the guys that their synopsis mentioned was let out of prison because of DNA evidence and stuff later on. He spent like 15 years in prison and he didn't do anything wrong. Then once DNA technology came out, they retried him and it turns out he was innocent the whole time. So,
so the state that you get jailed for is supposed to pay you for like, what is it called? It's almost like reparation pay, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or while you're in jail, you get like so many thousands of dollars based on your profession.
I want to say it's $100,000 a year, but I want to say these two guys ended up suing the state on top of that.
No shit.
I want to say they got more.
Yeah, I've known a guy that I heard a story on one podcast. He got out and got something like $2 million or something like that.
Yeah, so that's from what Revolver. I just looked that up as well. It's from a Revolver podcast. That's, I guess, a group of podcasts. That's the Wrongful Conviction with Jason Flom from Revolver podcast.
I haven't reached out to any of these podcasts to mention that we were mentioning them, so I don't know if that's something you guys want.
Yeah, we'll plug them. Yeah. We'll tag them on it a little bit.
But again, I haven't listened to that one, but it sounds really cool. I'll probably listen to it.
Yeah.
They're on iHeart. Are we on iHeart too?
Yeah, we're not Twisted 10 yet, but Lincoln Park actually is.
All right, cool.
Number 7. Again, it's another one that I haven't listened to.
Sorry.
This is another one I haven't listened to.
Okay.
It's called Criminal.
I have not listened to that one.
I've seen all of these in the charts.
Exactly. Yeah. Criminal, created in 2013, stands out from a sea of true crime true crime podcasts that seem to focus almost exclusively on murder. Criminal covers every kind of crime imaginable. Some sad, some scary, some actually funny. They do so in a very digestible doses. Episodes are about 20 minutes long. The main mission of producers Lauren Sforer and Eric Manel and host Phoebe Judge is to find the personal angle in each story. Who did this crime affect, how, and why? They've interviewed a mother-daughter coroner team and a man who broke up a Venus flytrap crime ring.
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Chop people up and feed them to Venus flytraps?
Every episode is so different from the last, and yet all feels so fully fleshed out with commentary right from the people involved in the crime.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's similar to Serial, because Serial will do a lot of the same stuff. You know what I mean? Like they have. I was impressed with season 1 how many different people. Like she'll mention somebody in a podcast in one of the episodes, and then almost like 4 episodes later, she's like, "Oh, by the way, I managed to get in touch with so and so," and then she'll end up having them on the podcast.
No shit.
Oh yeah, she does a really really good job.
I gotta listen to Serial.
Oh yeah. Okay, and then number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6 is called Accused.
I haven't listened to this one either.
This is another one that a friend of mine told me. I haven't listened to this one either, but a friend of mine told me this is another one that'll piss you off when you listen to it.
Nice.
Accused
Go on to that one next.
will appeal to those still looking to fill the serial void,
Nice.
since it is, in fact, a serial. Amber Hunt and Amanda Roseman are 2 Cincinnati journalists who spent a year investigating the 1978 murder of Elizabeth Andes in her Oxford, Ohio apartment. Andy's boyfriend, Bob Young, confessed, then recanted. 2 juries, 1 criminal, 1 civil, acquitted Young, but police never looked into any other suspects. Hunt spends each episode taking listeners through the facts, Elizabeth and Bob's relationship, evidence for and against Bob and other suspects, and where Elizabeth's family stands on the case now. Every episode is brimming with the emotional accounts of Elizabeth's friends and Hunt and Roseman's serial life experiment. Driving from point A to point B in the police's response timeline for Bob on the night of the murder will leave you constantly questioning your own conclusions. Of course, you'll have to start from the beginning with this one.
Nice.
So this isn't one you can just pick up with the latest episode.
Yeah.
I pulled up their Twitter. While you were doing the recap. Their Twitter is @Accused Podcast. Pretty straightforward. But both of them tweet. Both Amber and Amanda tweet all sorts of stuff, and it's not just about their shows. Like they just did a 100 years after the birth of JFK, so they did like a memoriam for JFK, and and several other things. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They have a pretty good following on Twitter as well.
So yeah, that's the first 5.
All right.
That's pretty
Nice.
I'm still hung up on the whole Venus flytrap crime.
I know, yeah.
I just picture what is like some island of Dr. Moreau where they're trying to recreate little shop of horrors. Like,
Interesting way to
how is-
dispose of a body.
Tax started it. You should finish where you started to go down the quote for the Venus flytraps. I heard you start it.
Feed me.
Feed me, see me.
Yeah.
Does it have
Great.
to be human?
All night long. Yeah.
Does it have to be blood?
now I just want Steve Martin as a brunette again.
Yeah.
What was that? My Blue Heaven. He was a brunette in that movie.
Nobody watched that
Not
one.
brunette. Yeah, brunette. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want the attitude he had in Little Shop.
Did he?
that was
I'm a
great.
dentist.
Did he ever not have white hair?
I think he was born with white hair.
Really?
No, I really don't
I
know.
don't know.
Because I mean, if you go back even as far as like,
Oh yeah,
he's
like
always
the
had white hair.
60s, 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
They had him
I think
on,
he's just incredibly old.
They had him on Conan O'Brien one night, and
He's a vampire.
No,
And it was-
not as an insult. I mean, I think he's incredibly old.
He still looks pretty good though.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he does.
I do.
they had him on Conan O'Brien one night, and it was him and some singer. I can't remember her name.
Edie Brickle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who he's
And
with
it's
all
like-
the time. They wrote a Broadway play. It's called North Star.
Yeah,
Bright
and he
Star,
comes
I'm
out
sorry.
like playing the banjo and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the hell?
always
Steve
played
Martin.
banjo,
Steve
yeah.
Martin's always played banjo. If you
Apparently,
listen-
he's badass at it too.
he's one of the
Yeah.
best clawhammer banjo players in the
That's
world right now.
insane.
I want to learn. I just talked to Andrea about this. I want to learn how to play banjo.
Yeah, he's actually released a few albums with Edie Brickle where he's playing. He's also got I can't remember the name of the band now. It's another bluegrass band.
They act like they're dating.
I believe there's a relationship there. I'm not 100%, but Bright Star won a few awards at the Tonys.
That's
It's
cool.
a really good play. I have
Nice.
the soundtrack on my Spotify. It's great
Yeah?
to listen to.
That's cool.
Cool. Okay, so what we do now is we will take a little break, and when we come back, do you have a little teaser?
Yeah, season 2
No,
of Serial.
that's good.
Nice.
Which that's the only season I've listened to so far, and I love season
There you
2.
go. Yeah.
All right, so when we'll be back.
Whip it, whip it, whip it.
Words are hard, and we'll be back.
Hey, Tech, you ever have that conversation with your girl about where to eat dinner and it always turns into that back and forth? I don't know, you pick.
Yeah, every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got an answer for you next time that comes up.
Oh yeah, we're at.
The Salty Fox in Melbourne off of Old Galley Boulevard.
Oh, nice. You know, I've actually been there, and the food was pretty awesome.
Hell yeah, it was. They offer a great selection of paninis, shareable appetizers, soups and salads, and one of the best desserts I've ever had, the Funky Monkey.
Oh yeah, my favorite was the vintage options. They got this meal called ramen noodle on crack. You just got to try it out.
Done. That's definitely what I'm getting next time.
Put the fun between your legs at the Salty Fox every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. with the Old Galley Arts District Bike Crawl.
It's a 4-mile bicycle ride down Pineapple Avenue with stops for food and beer all along the route. Be sure to visit the Salty Fox every Sunday for brunch from 11 to 4.
Hey, isn't that the $10 bottomless mimosas brunch?
Sure is. Enjoy your brunch while the Salty Fox's DJ spins throwbacks and top 40 hits.
Salty Fox is located in the downtown Old Galley Art District on Old Galley Boulevard.
Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/saltyfoxmelbourne or online at thesaltyfox.net.
Hey listeners, be sure to mention you heard about the Salty Fox on our show, and you'll get 10% off your meals.
Okay, we have 45 seconds before the anesthesia wears off, so we have to make this quick.
That's not very good anesthesia.
Focus now. Remember why we're here.
Honestly, no. Sandwiches?
Soon. Look, we're here to tell the Twisted 10 listeners about our show, the Conversation Hat Podcast, in which a hat tells us to talk about geek culture, the arts and the abstract, features guests from the creative industries along with original sketches and music.
Oh yeah. I guess we'd mentioned that the Conversation Hat is available on iTunes, SoundCloud and on stabbedpanda.com, right?
I really wish we'd scripted this before breaking in.
Liam, they're starting to wake up.
Ugh, darn, there's no time. Come on, through the window.
We forgot the sandwiches.
Village Idiot Pub. You locals know about it. You guys from out of town have to check them out.
Village Idiot Pub is now a proud sponsor with Living Podcariously and the Twisted 10 podcasts.
It's more than just about commercials, though. The cast here will be taking our show on the road to Village Idiot to record some episodes as well as hold events. They have over 30 beers on tap, including ciders and Hefeweizen, my favorite, as well as hundreds of bottle choices.
Add Adam, you forgot my favorite, all the delicious wine. So get your friends together and enjoy the board games, puzzles, and the giant Jenga.
Let the owner Jason, as well as the rest of the staff there, take excellent care of your beer drinking needs.
Mention either one of our shows to the staff and get 10% off your tab.
Tuesday is open mic, Wednesday is trivia, Thursday is karaoke, Friday and Saturday night are live music.
Visit them at 4 Harrison Street, Suite 103, Cocoa, Florida, or Village Idiot Pub on Facebook. And don't forget, they are a dog-friendly location, so bring your friends, family, and fur babies.
Do you like sci-fi, AI, and technology? Do you enjoy going on tangents and down random rabbit holes of a subject? Then join me and my friends each week on Brokebot Mountain as some artificially intelligent people attempt to walk through a maze that explores themes of existence and free thought in sci-fi TV, movies, and books. The conversations are unique and bring an unusual perspective to the genre and can literally go anywhere. And we do mean anywhere. You can find us at blazingcariboustudios.com or look for Brokebot Mountain on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, or anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hey, it's Adam. If you enjoy the hosts or the content of the Twisted 10, be sure to check out our other show. It's called Living Podcariously. While the Twisted 10 may get crass and explicit occasionally, it holds no water to Living Podcariously. We do get a little bit more rough and raw on that show. We have a lot of fun producing it and have had some awesome guests. And as always, thanks for listening.
There's a baby boy born without ears. Right? He can hear. He has ear canals, just no external ears at all.
Okay.
Kid grows up, made fun of all his life, but becomes successful, CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. He's about 95. He decides it's time to retire. But he doesn't want to give the company to anyone that's already in it. He wants to give it off to an upstart who has some potential and who wants to give him an opportunity. So he calls the 3 highest GPA holder, the students with the highest GPAs in 3 of the most prestigious universities in the world. He got the one from Harvard, he got one from Oxford, and he got one from BBC Cocoa Beach campus. Or Cocoa campus, rather. All right. He calls in Harvard first. Harvard sits down, look at each other, and says, "Tell me the first thing you notice about me." And the kid from Harvard looks at him for a second and says, "You have no ears." The guy says, "Shut up, get out of here. I want somebody who's going to be able to think outside the box when running this company. Go away. I want somebody that states the obvious." So he calls in the next kid from Oxford. He sits him down and says, "Look at me, what's the first thing you notice?" Well, sir, you obviously, you have no ears. Is that, that's how you're going to break it down to me? Without any compassion, without any thought about the next person? I want somebody who's going to understand people running this company when I leave. Get the hell out of my office. So he calls in BBC, or BCC. BCC walks in, sits down, and says, "Son, tell me the first thing you notice about me." Says, "You wear contacts." The guy says, "Holy shit, you're right. How did you know?" "You sure as fuck can't wear any glasses. You ain't got no goddamn ears."
Well, welcome back to the Twisted 10.
Yes.
Oh. And we have returned. And Jimmy Klein is hosting this episode.
Yeah.
For those just joining us.
Nobody joins us in the middle tech.
They might if they listen to you on the radio.
Because we're on Podcast Radio Network.
That's right. Podcast Radio Network.
So, Jimmy, you were doing the top 10 podcasts that are like cereal.
Yes, sir.
It's SERIAL.
That's correct, yes.
Not like Captain Crunch or anything.
No, like Serial Killer.
So if you can just run through the names of the top 5 we've gone through so far, starting number 10.
Number 10 was Shittown. Yep. Although when you look for it, I don't necessarily know that it'll come up as Shittown. You may have to type in S-Town.
Oh, yeah, that's
S-Town.
right. Yeah.
Excuse me. Murder on the Space Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8 was Wrongful Conviction with Jason Flom. Number 7 was Criminal. And number 6 was Accused.
All right.
Nice.
Brings us number 5. So take it away, sir.
Okay, number 5.
Cinco.
The second half of my list, I kind of broke up Serial because Serial is 2 seasons so far. And season 2 is a little bit different than season 1. The synopsis for season 2 is, in the middle of the night, Private First Class Bose Bergdahl grabs a notebook, snacks, water, and some cash. Then he quietly slips off of a remote U.S. Army outpost in eastern Afghanistan and into the dark, open desert. About 20 minutes later, it occurs to him he's in over his head. Now, if any of you have heard...
Good.
Oh, yeah. Very familiar with it.
Yeah, so he spent 5 years in Taliban captivity.
Yep.
And that's what the second season of Serial focuses on. And I'm really impressed with this lady because, you go through, a few episodes and she kind of mentions, the Taliban claims this. And then she goes out of her way to get an interview with one of the people that took care of him while he was in captivity.
One of the leaders of the Taliban.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She has an interview, and it's kind of interesting because you're listening to a couple episodes, and then all of a sudden you hear a guy on the phone, and then she's like,
Is that a little
"Oh yeah,
racist?
that's Abdul Muhammad." I hate to be racist, but and then it's like
That's more
he's
accurate
leader,
than you might know.
He's leader of the Taliban, but we'll get into that in the next episode.
Well, it's
you're like, what?
Well, it's Taliban-controlled portion of Afghanistan. To be fair, the people that were, I don't want to say capturing them, but the people that were holding them was a family in a certain part of Afghanistan that's controlled by the Taliban. So I'm sure the guy was in the Taliban, but that's not how they recognize themselves.
Gotcha.
I don't want this podcast to be a target. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to clear that out.
Yeah.
But also, I read today researching for this that apparently the Taliban has come out and said they're fans of the podcast and they do listen to Serial.
No shit.
Just because they were impressed at how they took what they said, how she took what they said as, and just printed it the way.
Right. Didn't spin it.
They didn't
at all.
spin it. They
Yeah.
didn't make him look bad. She kind of gave it as much credit as she did Bo Bergdahl himself. So
Season 2 is great. So fucking good, man.
It's ironic to be able to get some news in the U.S. that isn't spun politically one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's weird hearing that. I mean, I know it because I've experienced it, but to hear the Taliban, I'm like, they listen to podcasts, only live in caves. No, these are 20-year-old, 30-year-old Afghan kids.
Yeah.
They all have cell phones. They all have Twitter accounts.
Yep.
Like these are just like any other 20-year-old,
Riding on the backbone infrastructure that the U.S. government laid for them, getting their internet. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in season 2 they go through, an episode or two where they talk about the conditions he lived in when he was captured and stuff like that. And so that's why I kind of broke it up because it wasn't really the same thing, season 1 and season 2. But I'm curious to hear what you think of Bo Bergdahl because I know, not to get personal, but I know you're in the Army. But because you had kind of a funny look on your face when I was giving the synopsis.
I mean, I can't condone what the guy did, but I believe we should have. People were mad because we traded hostages for him.
Right,
you know what?
That was bullshit.
Well,
we don't negotiate with terrorists.
But you get your guy back at the same time. Like, he fuck what he did. You know what I mean?
Releasing like 5 terrorists.
You get your guy back. That's the rule. Is you bring everyone home. Whatever you got to do to bring someone home, you bring them home, and then you fuck with them here. Like you do what you do to him here, but we do it to him. He's ours to do that too. Not anyone else's.
One thing they do talk about in the podcast was, the deal that they worked out was supposed to be part of a bigger thing, which was supposed to end the war in Iraq or end the war in Afghanistan in the first place.
Right.
It was one of the first steps in establishing trust between the Taliban and the United States.
Yeah.
And they go into detail. That's really why that exchange happened.
Yeah, the Taliban. People forget that the Taliban is, in a way, a legitimate government body. I mean, it's a political party. And they have, press secretaries and all that other kind of stuff. And at some point, you're either going to have to totally defeat them or recognize the fact that they are a system of government.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest issue was releasing 5 terrorists for a piece of shit, someone who abandoned his country and his post.
Allegedly.
Yeah, but again, that's where you bring your guy home and you punish him.
Even his own company or whatever one fucking put a bullet.
A lot
in
of
his
them.
head.
Yeah, a lot of them on the podcast said if he would have came back, I would have shot him.
He's like, I would have fucking killed him. He's like, it's a different world over there. She was like, are you joking or are you just saying that? He's like, no.
Yeah. Well, what's your opinion? Because I know you weren't in the military, but I know you spent time over there.
So I'm half and half, and I can't have the same perspective that Jay and Tach necessarily have, but I did 2 years in Iraq, a year in Colombia. Colombia is not the same. It's not the same as living in the desert. And then I spent about 3 months in Afghanistan, and the entire thing of trading to get somebody back, that non-negotiation with terrorists type of clause that we just, kind of let go by the wayside pisses me the hell off.
Yeah.
However, with that being understood, I do see the point of getting him back to U.S. soil. I got it. I understand why they made that call. I don't agree with it, but I can certainly see it from that side. But no, you don't negotiate. That just opens us up for influenceable actions later by capturing prisoners.
And I think the way they got around that was Taliban isn't technically the terrorist organization. It's a form of government.
Right.
Al-Qaeda is the actual military.
They were holding him hostage.
Well, plus to get more...
I think that's how they got around the PR aspect. Like, well, they're not actually terrorists. They're just a form of government.
Well, plus to get more specific, this is a Taliban-controlled portion of Afghanistan. So to get more specific on what you're saying, it's even more so not the Taliban.
I did learn something interesting. That's kind of like the same thing of, the president can't declare war. It has to be Congress.
Yeah,
however, Congress hasn't declared war. Yeah. Congress hasn't declared war since World War II. I think it was on our podcast. We heard that last week before. I don't remember exactly when, but yeah, there's ways around. I got it. I understand.
Yeah, that was Jen's episode.
Was that Jen's?
Jen Briney, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So anyways, so that's what season 2 is about.
Nice.
It's great. I love it.
It is. Yeah. It's interesting listening to the interview with the guy from Taliban, because you almost, when you first hear her saying it's going to be the interview, my first thought, and Tech's probably was too, was, oh shit, I can't wait to see how this goes.
Yeah.
But the dude was totally normal. Like he wasn't saying death to the United States. He was like totally a normal guy. Just, so it was just impressive. Yeah. So, number 5.
No,
that was number 5.
Sorry? No, this was the...
Oh, that was just...
This was the second season.
Oh, gotcha.
So this is what the next 5 are based on.
I got you. Oh, okay, gotcha.
So, number 5.
Number 5.
It's one called War Stories Podcast. That's what it's called. Their synopsis is, the podcast traces the evolution of warfare through the eyes of those who lived it. Each episode is centered around a specific event with first-person accounts, which also demonstrates an evolution in warfare, tactics, and technology. Season 1, we are tracing the evolution of the tank and armor divisions. So the reason I put that in here was because in Serial, it's a lot of Bo Bergdahl's accounts, whether you want to believe him or not is another thing. Mm-hmm. And so I tried to look for something that had to do with military that was a first-person account. You know what I mean? Because you might be into that as opposed to just strictly whether he did it or not. So that's number 5.
Nice.
Yeah. That's cool.
Number 4 is along the same lines. American Military Podcast is what it's called. The United States may not have been around long, but it has made up for lost time by packing in an unthinkable amount of conflict since 1776. The American Military History Podcast from Justin Johnson charts everything from the Revolutionary War that kicked us Brits to the curb. I guess he's a British guy that does this. Through the Civil War and right up to modern conflicts in the Middle East. There are more than 40 episodes, most under 30 minutes. So perfect for your daily commute.
Nice.
So that's their summary from iTunes. I haven't listened to that one either.
So they recap all the events, all the wars and all the battles and all the conflicts we've been in
that's
since
correct,
then?
Yeah.
I like how it's coming from a British perspective. So they're being like uptight and snooty about us being uptight and snooty.
It's probably about the fact that we kind of make them do whatever it is that we want to do. So
it's probably two Brits sitting around like me and you, Tack, going, they invaded that way. They should never have done that. Damn, dumb Americans. Crikey. Oh, no, that's Australian.
You notice that the Brits are almost like Larry the Cable Guy when it comes to military stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Larry the Cable Guy's like, well, my wife wanted me to try on women's underwear. I was like hell I will. So anyways, I'm trying on this women's underwear. And that's kind of what the British do too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always wondered in England if, like, on 4th of July, do they write, like, just a giant birthday card and say, happy birthday, USA. Love, Mum.
Or the motherland.
They send us a $5 check. So.
Now don't spend it all in one place, sweetie.
All right, number 3?
4.
4.
No,
4.
Yeah, no.
3. No, 3.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
3. Number 3.
Tres.
I'm confused.
This one's called Someone Knows Something.
Yes, I love this one. This is great. It's by CBC. This is a Canadian show. Yeah, I love this.
This is another one I haven't listened to yet, so I'm glad you have.
Canadians have microphones and computers?
Yeah, it's like their equivalent to NBC, but it's CBC Radio. Like we have NBC Radio, so this is CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Company. Anyway.
Okay, their summary is the first season focuses on June 12th, 1972, disappearance of Adrian McNaughton. Am I saying that right?
I think so.
A 5-year-old boy who vanished during a family fishing trip in eastern Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
McNaughton's family is from Emperor, Ontario, where Ridgen, do you know who that is, Ty? Ridgen, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Where somebody grew up.
Okay.
He and his family moved there shortly after Adrian's disappearance. The second season follows disappearance of Cheryl Shepard in Hamilton, Ontario. Shepard went missing on January 2nd, 1998, 2 days after her boyfriend, Michael Laveau, offered a proposal of marriage on a live TV broadcast with some assistance from Shepard's mother, Odetta Fisher.
Wait a minute. Well, hold the train. He proposed while they were looking for their kids? Wait,
this is season 2. This is season 2.
He went through a season 1 synopsis, and now this is season 2 synopsis.
Okay.
I guess Ridgen is the producer or the guy doing the podcast.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, okay. He looks into the case as well as backgrounds of both Cheryl and Michael, who has been the only person the Hamilton Police Service has named as a suspect in Cheryl's disappearance.
Dude, season 2 is fucking nuts, man. Yeah. Season 1 was okay, it was good, but season 2 is so much better. Like, this guy fucking did it, man. Like this, but there's not enough evidence to convict him. And like he's, because he basically goes around with the mother of the missing woman.
Okay.
And the guy claims, "Oh yeah, I dropped her off at what's that waterfalls? Niagara Falls. I guess there's like some titty bar out there or something." He's like, "Yeah, I dropped her off at the titty bar to dance at night, and and then I haven't seen her since. But yet her like cell phone, everything is still at the house, and all this kind of crazy."
You know, with the Niagara,
and he's the last one to like see her alive, and then even the place at the titty bar says she never came in here.
At the Niagara titty bar, they don't make it rain; they make it fall. Oh God!
But
yeah, I interrupted for that.
Like nobody,
I'll take my lumps.
Nobody's been arrested for this, and this chick is still missing. And there's just all these clues. I mean, it's nuts. And then like he'd been trying to get an interview with this guy Lavoie, like through the whole thing. His family were like, nope, go away. You know, we don't want to talk to you. No. And then finally, the last episode, he basically sits outside of his house and just waits for him to show up, and then just ambushes him.
Oh shit!
And then he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about it. I told you what I know, and and that was the last episode. And I was hoping there was going to be more, but someone knows something. Great fucking show. That's a great true. If you like true crime, that's a really good one. But I'm hoping you're going to mention 2 more that I really love. At least
Probably
one.
not.
Probably not.
No. But feel free to if I don't.
I will afterwards. I'll mention honorary mentions.
By the way, we'll put the links to all the shows in the show notes. So people, if you're listening to this and you want to check one of these out, just check the show notes on your device, and you
definitely
can
recommend someone knows something. Yes.
The second one, I'm sorry, number 2.
Number
2
is it's called the Truth and Justice Podcast. This one has more to do with the entire series of Serial as opposed to just season 2. Their synopsis says the Truth and Justice Podcast is a listener-driven show devoted to the pursuit of truth and justice. Host Bob Ruff is currently investigating the Hyman Lee murder case, which was the one that's discussed in Serial, in season 1 of Serial. Serial opened our minds to this case. The undisclosed podcast is digging deeply into the weeds to expose the legal issues and misconduct involved. Bob and his listeners are kicking the doors in and ensuring that everyone gets out safe. Bob is a fire chief and uses his experience investigating arsons to find the truth. This innovative crowdsource approach has proven to be an effective method of finding details in the case.
Nice.
So yeah, I thought that sounded pretty interesting.
Crowdsourcing murder mystery type shit sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So you put all the clues out there and let everybody have at them.
Yeah.
And then,
Armchair
help build,
sleuths is what it's called.
help build your case. That'd be awesome.
And number 5 is more like an honorable mention than it is and I doubt it's anything you're going to mention. So
number 1?
I'm sorry, number 1. Sorry. And what was the one that you wanted to mention? What was the 2 that you wanted to mention before I go to the last one?
Oh, okay. Well, there was one of them is just true crime. Period. Like it's not a mystery or anything. It just talks about. It's a really popular one. It's called Sword and Scale, It's really
I
good.
saw that a lot while I was researching.
Yeah. Sword and Scale is really good. It's just every episode is just about one, maybe two different just true crime stories. There's no mystery or anything. It just talks about it. It's just really good if you love true crime. But one of the ones that are that's like Serial and all that I just love and is fucking amazing right now is it's called Up and Vanished. It's by this guy named Payne Lindsay. It's this guy. He's originally a filmmaker. It's his first time ever doing a podcast. But this is I listen to a lot of these podcasts that are like this, where they investigate a podcast, where they do investigations of like cold cases and shit. But this is the first one I've ever heard where it actually goes somewhere in the case. And a lot of it has to do with because of the podcast. Like, it's crazy. Like, because it wasn't just a 15-year-old cold case that all of a sudden, holy shit, now they have an arrest. Now they have, and a lot of it had to do with because of the podcast, because he's in town. He's doing an investigation. He's like resurfacing all this shit. The town is now talking about the case. There's people that, because you're at a party or something one night and somebody's like, hey, there's a guy here doing that case on that chick, a missing chick. Oh, my cousin knows the guy. I think she was killed. And, just because of that talk that went around this small town. Like, now there's two people arrested. I mean, it's crazy. So now every episode is an update on the court case and all this kind of shit. It's crazy. It's Up and Vanished. So fucking good.
That happens with Serial with season 1 as well. Like, there's a few times where she'll say, I really want to get an interview with this person, but I couldn't find him. And then, like, on, two or three episodes later, well, it turns out she listened to the podcast, or she had a friend listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
So,
That's
same thing kind of thing
amazing.
happened.
It's in real time, which is great, because they'll talk about the podcast. They'll talk about, hey, I've been listening to the show, because it'll be like a week or two of investigations, and they do an episode. So it's in real time, almost, within a week or two.
That's awesome.
Of the investigation. It's so good. But sorry to hijack.
No, you're good. You're good. The one thing that struck me about Serial is it's a lot of it talks a lot about public, especially season 2, talks about public perception as opposed to what actually happened. And so that's kind of what this last one is about. It's more like an honorable mention than it is directly involved. But it's one that I've been kind of preaching to Tach for a while, and he hasn't listened to yet.
I know what you're going to say.
Exactly, yeah. Right. It's called The Inside Psycho, it's about the movie Psycho.
Inside Psycho?
Inside Psycho, yeah. It talks about the circumstances and the real life happenings behind the movie, like what the script was about. It was about Ed Gaines, the serial killer Ed Gaines.
That was about Ed Gaines?
Yeah. That's what the character was based off of. And in fact, the guy that wrote it, if you think about the character in Psycho, versus
it's exactly him. Yeah.
When he wrote the script, none of that was in the news. They didn't talk about that back then. And so when all these stories finally came about Ed Gaines, they said he wouldn't look in the mirror for 2 years because all he could see is Ed Gaines, like in the mirror. Like he was so disgusted that he thought of this character that he related to Ed Gaines at all. But anyways, their summary is a deep dive into mysteries and peculiar happenings that occurred during the filming of the legendary film Psycho. Mark Ramsey Media and Wondery, which is the company, I guess the producers that make it, create a magical mix of fact and fiction, which transport you into the world of Hitchcock. Psycho is among the greatest thrillers in movie history, and it nearly didn't happen. So it's a really fascinating podcast. Like one of the things they talk about was the head of the mom, the skull that they used. I want to say that the kid from like Opie Cunningham or whatever his name was from
Ron Howard.
I want to say he made it like in his off time from doing the TV show or whatever. Yeah, there's things like that they talk about that you wouldn't normally think. Like the way he came up with the skull. They had to make 5, and then he would hide them around the set where he knew that the girl in the movie was gonna see him. And then whichever one she screamed the loudest at was what they used in the movie, like, sadistic stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Ingenious.
And apparently in the shower scene, there is a nipple.
Oh.
Yeah. If you pause it at the exact right frame, there's one individual frame where you can see her nipple.
Really? Yeah. I'm going to have to go back and watch now.
This is the greatness of America,
exactly.
folks.
Yep.
And it was never blood or synthetic blood. It was chocolate syrup, right?
Exactly. In fact, they still make that version of that brand. They still make it today. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So is that it?
That is it.
All right.
That's a
good list.
That was an
awesome list, man.
We got some homework then. I love true crime, so this is exciting to me.
You have given me homework now to go actually listen to more podcasts. I already have. Jesus, if I showed you my little subscription, I've got about 15 or 18 or so podcasts now. I'm about to add 4 or 5 more.
Boom.
Yeah, seriously.
I already see it happening.
Cool. So that's the end of the list. Is there anything you want to plug? I mean, I know you don't have any active projects.
Maybe your
just yet.
photography.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that for 2 seconds.
Because we did a little bit of stuff this afternoon.
Yeah. You also need to get we need to make him a commercial.
Okay, done.
All right.
It's easy.
So we'll get you a commercial made, and you can just get with Adam on the way out the door, and
There you go.
any kind of bullet points you want us to hit in a commercial. And Adam is amazing at making commercials, as you've heard. So
That works, yeah.
So what do you do? What did Jimmy do for us, Tach?
Oh, so today, before we did this recording, we met out at the Village at a Pub and the Cocoa Village,
And we drank a lot of beer. Oh wait, no, that's not what we're talking about.
and Jimmy took some promotional photos of us all.
Yep,
So
cool
some
little
individuals,
skits.
some groups, some candid, some. So look out for those
it's fun.
from Jimmy Klein Photography.
There you go. You can find me on Facebook.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we'll put all your information in the show notes as well.
Cool. That works.
So you're hireable for events, weddings, those just
All
pretty
that
much
kind of
everything.
stuff,
Brevard County or all Central Florida, or do you go?
I'd probably go anywhere, but
Okay.
mostly Brevard County so far.
Very
As long
cool.
as they paid for like airfare.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And,
I'll gladly go around the world if they're going to fly me there.
Andrea, you hear he does weddings?
Engagements, too.
I gotta giggle out of it.
I do engagement pictures, too. Just throwing that out there. And baby pictures.
He is a one-stop shop, Jimmy Klein Photography.
No, that's
right.
awesome. Yeah, we'll be sure to put your information in the show notes
that works.
and build your little ad and all that fun stuff for the
yeah.
shows. But
Appreciate it.
And look out for future podcasts coming.
Yeah,
from
we're
there.
recording our first episode tomorrow.
Awesome.
oh no shit, that's quick.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I know you've got all the equipment. You brought your mixer in here. So Jimmy brings in his mixer for his show that hasn't been started yet, and but it destroys ours. So hey, listeners, if you're interested in donating, we will probably have a Patreon set up for Twisted 10 here real soon. So we would love your patronage if you're interested.
Indeed.
We'll come up with some sort of cool bonuses and prizes and stuff like that for you in the future.
Hell yeah. All right, so are you guys ready to get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it. Jay,
Oh,
where are you
sorry,
gonna
Jay.
be?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine.
You going to be somewhere?
Yeah, I got a couple shows coming up.
Cool.
I'm going to be at the West End in Sanford this Saturday at the 11:30 p.m. show, hosted by Ross McCoy.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
From
nice.
Tom and Dan.
Yeah, from Over Tom and Dan.
I'm a BDM, man. I've been if you're not a BDM, you wouldn't get this, but I've been touching tips all over Brevard in the last like 3 or 4 weeks.
Gross.
That's their little BDM. They touch tips.
I get you. I get it. Big Dig Millionaires.
Yeah, so I'll be there June 3rd, and then June 10th I'll be at Groucho's in Melbourne, Florida.
Nice.
Ross did say he would come on our show down the road.
That's
When I was
gross.
talking to him at the Burn It Down show. I see what you did there. When I was on the Burn It Down episode, I was talking to him. He was one of the other guest judges. And I said, Jay Alvarez. He's like, oh, yeah, I've done some stuff with him in the past. I'm like, well, he's our co-host, so we would love to have you on. So he's going to come over and do an episode of probably not Twisted 10 unless he really wants to, but for sure living vicariously with us.
Yeah, I'll talk to him this Saturday.
Sweet.
All right, and if you want to get a hold of us, you can catch us on Twitter at the Twisted 10.
at the
Jesus,
Twisted 10.
sorry. I thought I was saying another show. At the Twisted 10, you can also hit us up at thetwisted10@gmail.com.
Facebook.com/thetwisted10. Hey, Andrea, where can they find you?
Brent Allen Salon.
You yell it, baby. She's got her mouth full. Brent Allen Salon and J Spot.
With
Congratulations,
pizza.
Adam.
With pizza.
up in Cocoa, just north of on US 1, just north of 528. So pretty. Well, yeah. For the next
She'll be in
11
Italy.
days, she'll be in Italy. So
Nice.
not this next 11 days, but anyway.
Hey, I was in Mexico yesterday, and also in Norway, and China and Japan.
Oh,
Nice.
you bastard! You went to
I
Epcot.
went to Epcot.
Oh,
yesterday.
that's right.
I read somewhere that when you go to a country there, that their, what is it, part of their country pays for those?
Oh, I don't know.
Like it has something to do with the,
Like an ambassador.
the ambassador, the dignitary, whatever, pays for those lands in
No shit.
Epcot. Yeah, so they're actually sponsored by the country. Yeah.
I know all their employees are from those countries.
If
so.
we have anybody that works at Epcot that listens to the show, send an email to the show to thetwisted10@gmail.com and let us know. We'd love to interview you on that.
And
Apparently they have room for like 4 more countries or something like that.
And they have beer.
Yeah,
there
there's
too,
not
like
as many
beer from that
countries.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have paseña.
They have
for,
soda as well.
for Bolivia. It's one of my favorite beer. When I went to Bolivia, they had, when I was down there, I drank paseña. When we went to Epcot, I don't know, 12 years ago, they had it. I'm like, holy shit.
Did it
and
taste
sure
the
enough,
same?
it was bottled. Well, so the important part to that is the ingredients you can get anywhere.
Oh, okay,
But if they bottle it with the water from that country, like if it's bottled in Peru or in
Right.
Bolivia or in or wherever, then it does have a different taste.
What it
Is it like an IPA?
No, that one's just a
What it is that the
like a survey. It's just a-
dysentery has a real distinct flavor to it. So that's why you need the water from a third world country.
I love dysentery.
dysentery.
All right, so let's get out of here, yeah?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so for the Twist 10, I'm Tach.
Adam
I'm Jay Alvarez.
and our guest.
I am Jimmy. Klein.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Klein.
All right, see you next week. Wait. Don't hit stop on the episode just yet. Hey, this is Tach from the podcast you just listened to. And if you enjoy living podcariously or the Twisted 10, then you're going to love my new podcast I co-host with my lifelong buddy, Ron Caniff. It's called You're 40, Now What? It's about the trials and tribulations of turning 40 and just getting through life. So check it out on iTunes, Google Play Music, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thanks. Now go give someone a mouth hug.